Good morning and welcome to First Unitarian Universalist Church of Rochester. We are a church of open minds and loving hearts, celebrating many spiritual paths, many sources of wisdom, many identities. Your faith, your doubts, your questions, your hopes for our world, and your story are welcome here. Today, we are glad to begin a festive return to fall with several outdoor events in the coming weeks starting today. So instead of coffee hour after service, join us today for a welcome back picnic from 12 to 4 p.m., most of the afternoon at Slattery Park. We'll have the big shelter there reserved, a time for playing, picnicking. You can bring your own chair and picnic food, yard games. Masks are encouraged, especially when in close proximity to others. There's plenty of space to spread out and enjoy a beautiful afternoon and a time of reconnecting for our congregation. So we hope to see you this afternoon. And then for the next 2 Sundays, instead of just live streaming on YouTube here, we'll gather for in-person outdoor services for all ages at 9 and 11 a.m. at the Olmsted History Center. So next week will be our annual water communion ritual, which will begin our fall as we do each year. No registration is necessary. You can come to either the 9 or the 11 o'clock service. Bring your own chair, wear a mask, enjoy music from the choir, a special song from our Chalice Camp kids, and then the following week, Sunday the 26th, the same place, same times. It'll include a social justice fair, also music from Jane Foote. Details will be in your e-news, or you can contact the office for more. There's a map of where to park and where to go, all that good stuff. We hope to see many of you in these few weeks outdoors as we mark this turn into a year of care and community. It will be so good to be together. And if you can't join us the 19th or the 26th outside, those services will be streamed on our Facebook page. A link will be provided for that as well. A special thank you and welcome to Lori Elward for providing today's music. We're so glad you're here. Welcome back. Today's offering will go to support our church, including half for our Human Needs Fund. You can give online at uurochmn.org/give. And in the words of the Reverend Eliza Tupper Wilkes, minister of this church in the 1870s, may our faith in humanity and our message of hope and good cheer light our way. It's good to be together. For our chalice lighting words today, as Trish lights a chalice, I'm glad to share this video greeting from our Unitarian Universalist Association President, the Reverend Susan Frederick Gray, about this time of regathering and beginning another uncertain church year. We join in spirit with other Unitarian Universalists across the country this day, as most are regathering for their fall programming in some way, some outside, many online, and we gather with them, so we're grateful for this reflection and greeting.
Hello, Unitarian Universalists. This is the season of ingathering, marking the start of a new congregation year. In recent months, as more people have been able to get vaccinated, many of us have been able to gather in ways that we haven't for a long time. It has been a joy to gather with distant loved ones, to hug our family and friends. And it's important to savor these gifts, these blessings. And we know that the pandemic is not over. Virus variants are creating uncertainty and greater risks for our children, the immunocompromised, and those who cannot get vaccinated. If you are eligible, please get vaccinated. This is the most important thing you can do to keep your loved ones, your communities, and one another safe. Getting vaccinated and continuing to wear masks remain a priority. And they help make our gatherings, whenever and whatever form they take, as safe and welcoming as possible for our children, for our elders, and for those most at risk. I share the feelings of frustration that we are not further along in combating this virus. And I know the heartache and confusion of trying to figure out how to best care for the spiritual nourishment of our communities while the virus surges. The way forward will be different across our communities. rates of vaccination, case counts, ability to meet outside, quality of ventilation, ability to physically distance indoors, congregation size, and particular needs and risks of our staff, our leaders, and our members. All of these can vary, and all are important factors in planning how we gather. I'm encouraged, though. I'm so encouraged by the creativity I witness in our congregations and the way that we are all leaning into mission, remembering how much our families and elders need community. It's important to think outside the box and to experiment with ways of gathering, both virtually and in person, that are meaningful and that attend to safety. In this time of ingathering, this season of new beginnings, care, kindness, and patience for ourselves and others are needed in abundance. Remember to prioritize the values of inclusion and consent, centering those most at risk, and to follow the science and be flexible in making plans and changing them when needed. At its core, ingathering is a ritual that celebrates the value and the meaning of religious community, the ways that we are held by a wider circle of love and care. I invite you to take a moment to be present to your body, and the physical space in which you are present. Be open to the emotions that you carry in your spirit. And remember that you are not alone. We belong to each other. And even when we are apart, we are held by a greater love. We are held by a religious community and by people that comfort us and care for us, and remind us of our connection to the larger interdependent web of which we are all a part. May we be grateful for the unseen but very real threads of compassion and strength, care and intention that surround us. There is great healing and sustaining power in our faith, and our work is to make these manifest in ourselves and in our communities, even if how we do this looks and continues to look differently than it did before. Our ministry is life-saving when it is responsive to our realities, helping all of us navigate these unprecedented and very precarious times. Thank you for being a part of this faith and for your commitment to your UU congregation. We will get through this together, caring for one another and being held by the larger embrace of abiding love. I send you my blessings to you and your loved ones and your families and to your communities. My love and care to each and every one of you. Blessed be.
The fount of every blessing, tune our hearts to sing thy grace. Streams of mercy, never ceasing, call forth songs of loudest praise. While the hope of life's perfection fills our hearts with joy and love. Teach us ever to be faithful. May we still thy goodness prove. Come, thou fount of every vision, lift our eyes to what may come. See the lion and the young lamb dwell together in thy home. Hear the cries of warful vision, while our love glow like the sun, when we all serve one another, then our heaven is begun. Come, thou fount of inspiration, turn our lives to higher ways. Lift our gloom and desperation, show the promise of this day. Help us find ourselves in union. Help our hands tell of your love. With thine aid, O fount of justice, earth be fair as heaven above.
When I was a student, I always looked forward to the beginning of the school year. It was a clean slate, with maybe new shoes, new teachers, and a new cohort of classmates. My favorite part was the fresh new 3-ring binder, college-ruled paper, and pencils with full erasers. My mom loved that part so much that she bought school supplies for backpack programs until the day she died. School supplies were the best part. I'm so glad that the importance of these new supplies continues to be a priority in ensuring all students can enjoy those same possibilities. There was always some trepidation, though. Would I like my teachers? Would there be new math in Base 8? Would there be frogs? But still, I smiled happily for the first day of school picture on the sidewalk with my lunchbox. September has always been a more meaningful new year for me. My birthday has just passed, so it seemed that is when the calendar flipped for me. I never had much luck with traditional New Year's resolutions, and who takes you outside on January 1st for a new picture? The freshness of the September air and the changing leaves bring more sense of newness for me, a time for reflection, cleansing, and change. My mom was a New Yorker, and she always said that a veil came down after Labor Day. And you can feel that in the Minnesota air, too. As the earth transitions, so must we. Maybe spring cleaning should be fall cleaning. Some of the things I'm trying to cleanse from my life are those that weigh me down. I can't shed housework or the to-do list, but I'm exploring more how to add rest or actual Sabbath to my life. I gave myself a true gift this summer, 6 days in a cabin in rural New York. I spent the days on the beach at Lake Erie, reading magazines and watching the gulls and the waves. I ate fresh corn and blueberries and peaches and Italian takeout. I sat on the deck and I watched hummingbirds and listened to the frogs and slept better than I have in several years. Can I add this to my daily routine? No. But it did make me realize that I have to feed my spirit, to have beaches, rest, and a break from digital notifications. As we recognize our Jewish sisters and brothers' New Year and their time of reflection, we tiptoe into our own new church year. There is much to celebrate with outdoor coffee hours, a picnic, and upcoming outdoor services. We all have learned a lot and have been very creative in adapting these last 18 months, but there is still so much uncertainty as we look ahead. Perhaps brushing off the dust and discarding the distractions in our lives will help us to be more present to the important things that really need our love and attention.
I am so happy to be back here again to sing for this community. It's been quite a long time. The last year has been interesting. For some reason, the universe thought it would be funny to give me emergency open heart surgery in the middle of the pandemic. But I had such wonderful support from this community, cards and letters and notes, and I felt really, really supported. So I thank you all for that. And the two songs I'm singing today are both by a wonderful singer-songwriter named Daniel Nahmad. I've had an opportunity to become friends with in this last year and a half through his online concerts and workshops and so forth. And his songs are incredibly UU friendly as far as their philosophy. And so in honor of the High Holy Days, this first song is called Everything New. Bring it on, everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through crying, I'm through waiting, I'm through hoping against all hope. I'm through longing for something gone that'll never return. I think I finally learned to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I'm through grieving, I'm through dreaming that the life I had is ever coming back. No more wishing on someone else's star that'll never be mine. I think it's time to bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I've survived many times before, broken hearts and slamming doors. I'll be alright, yes I will once more, just as I did back then. I'm gonna rise again, so bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new, so bring it on. Everything new, everything different, everything true. I am ready for my next thing to do. Oh, I know it's gonna be everything new. I know it's gonna be everything new.
Sometimes, well, actually many times, it can feel like there's too many places to be, too many people to tend to, too many questions and too many answers, or sometimes not enough answers. Today's story is about helping to simplify what and where to be and when. It is based on a story by Leo Tolstoy, The Three Questions, written and illustrated by John J. Muth. There once was a boy named Nikolai who sometimes felt uncertain about the right way to act. "I want to be a good person," he told his friends, "but I don't always know the best way to do that." "If only I could find the answers to my 3 questions," Nikolai continued, then I would always know what to do." When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? And what is the right thing to do? Sonia the heron said, "To know the best time to do things, one must plan in advance." Gogol the monkey, who had been rooting through some leaves to find something good to eat, said, "You will know when to do things if you watch and pay close attention." Then Pushkin the dog, who was just dozing off, rolled over and said, "You can't pay attention to everything yourself. You need a pack to keep watch and help you decide when to do things. For example, Gogol, a coconut is about to fall on your head." Nikolai thought for a moment. Then he asked his second question. "Who is the most important one?" "Those who are closest to heaven," said the heron. "Those who know how to heal the sick," said the monkey. "Those who make the rules," growled the dog. Nikolai thought some more, and then he asked the third question. "What is the right thing to do?" "Flying," said Sonia. "Having fun all the time," laughed Gogol. "Fighting," barked Pushkin right away. The boy thought for a long while. Then an idea came to him. "I know," he thought. "I will ask Leo the turtle. He has lived a very long time. Surely he will know the answers I am looking for." Nikolai hiked high up to the mountains where the old turtle lived all alone. When he arrived, he found Leo digging a garden. The turtle was old and digging was hard for him. "I have 3 questions, and I came to ask for your help," Nikolai said. "When is the best time to do things? Who is the most important one? And what is the right thing to do?" Leo listened carefully, but then kept on digging. "You must be tired," Nikolai said at last. "Let me help you." The turtle gave him the shovel and thanked him. And because it was easier for a young boy to dig than it was for an old turtle, Nikolai kept on digging until the rows were finished. But just as he finished, the wind blew wildly and the rains burst from darkened clouds. They moved toward the cottage for shelter, and Nikolai heard a cry for help. Running down the path, he found a panda whose leg had been injured by a fallen tree. Carefully, Nikolai carried her into Leo's house and made a splint for her leg. The storm raged on, and the panda woke up. "Where am I? Where is my child?" The boy ran out of the cottage and down the path. There he found the panda's child, cold and shivering on the ground. The little panda was wet and scared, but alive. Nikolai carried her inside and laid her in her mother's arms. Leo smiled when he saw what the boy had done. The next morning, the sun was warm and the birds sang, and all was well. At that moment, Sonia, Gogol, and Pushkin arrived to make sure everyone was all right. Nikolai felt at great peace with himself. He had wonderful friends, but he had still not found the answers to his 3 questions. So he asked Leo one more time. "But your questions have been answered," the old turtle said. "They have?" said the boy. "Yesterday, if you had not stayed to help me dig my garden, you wouldn't have heard the panda's cries for help in the storm. Therefore, the most important time was the time you spent digging in the garden. The most important one at the moment was me, and the most important thing to do was to help me with my garden. Later, when you found the injured panda, the most important time was the time you spent mending her leg and saving her child. The most important ones were the panda and her baby, and the most important thing was to take care of them and make them safe." Remember then that there is only one important time, and that time is now. The most important one is always the one you are with. And the most important thing to do good for the one who is standing at your side. For these, my dear boy, are the answers to what is the most important in this world. And this is why we are here.
Good morning. It is good to be with you. I invite you to settle in here as we create this place of communal caring and connection. Be enriched by the presence of each other and draw yourself into the heart of love at this time of service and reflection. In this time together, we ask that our minds be open, our hearts welcoming, our arms embracing. Here, we honor all who support us in this caring, loving, and all-inclusive ministry. We send gratitude to Lynn Didier, serving as our caring coordinator for the last week, arranging care for our members and friends in need. Julie Gilkinson will take over tomorrow for the next two, and we thank her for that. The members of our caring committee are wonderful examples of our compassionate community, holding us up as we go through challenging and happy times. This last year has taken a lot out of us. It has taken a lot from us. If during this time of increasing needs in our lives you are experiencing challenges, we encourage you to reach out for support and help. Many of us may need additional care, whether it be personal, pastoral care, or other assistance, and we encourage you to reach out to Reverend Luke or myself with that request. In this community, we share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because each person here matters, and each person's story matters. We lift up those who are experiencing illness, sadness, or loneliness. May the strength and love in our congregation help guide you. We revel in those who are experiencing joys in their lives. May their happiness lift us all, and may their joy filter into all around them. May all of us find love, hope, joy, and healing strength in this community. And we hold in our hearts this morning Julie Gilkinson. Julie shares that her oldest brother, James Bischoff, died on Saturday morning in California due to advanced Alzheimer's disease. This condition has robbed her of him for many years. Please keep Julie and their entire family in your thoughts as they cope with this loss. And Sarah Hayes shares her gratitude to you all for the support you've shown their family during this extremely difficult time of Jason's cancer journey. Please continue to wrap this family in love as they prepare for Jason's last days with them. There are no words to express the sadness we all feel, but the strength and love of those who care for them and the members of this congregation can help to lift them up in this time of sorrow. Rest easy, Jason, and know you are loved. And please send Eric Egler healing strength today. After quite a while of spine, neck, and arm pain and numbness, he underwent a spinal surgery on Thursday morning. Upon waking up, he was thrilled to share that he could feel his arm. We hope for continued comfort and healing, and Eric has loved the calls and cards of support from you all. Please continue to hold him in your thoughts. As we sneak around the corner into our new normal and ease into the future, which will be a new world, we ask for hope and patience, understanding and acceptance, and a renewed commitment of service to those in our lives, church, and community. As we begin the planning of regathering, we do so carefully and intentionally and with joy. May the faith and the spirit of life, love for the community of earth, and love for the light in each other be ours now and in all the days to come.
I invite you to take a deep breath. Breathe deep the breath of life. Sit deeply here in this circle, this community of love and of justice, of hope and grace. Here, know that you are named and you are known as beloved, as sacred. Feel below you the earth with its ancient turning, and above you the sky, and beyond that the stars shining with their ancient light, holding you in this moment right now. I invite you in this time of meditation, this time of prayer, first by sharing silence together. Spirit of life and source of love, God of 1,000 names and beyond all naming, in this threshold time of new seasons, new programs and school years, a new world always changing, we hold on to tender feelings of years past and an uncertain present and future. We hold the grief and trauma of these days, as well as 20 years since 9/11, both the losses of that day, but also the loss in the years following, the losses of ongoing war, the losses of our humanity and growing Islamophobia, and so much more when fear rushed past solidarity to retribution. May we keep learning how to be instruments of peace and reconciliation, of justice in a world that deeply needs it, now as much as ever. And we hold in our hearts all those who suffer this day in mind, in body, or spirit. I invite you to bring the names you're holding in your own heart, in joy or in sorrow, celebration or concern, and aloud or silently in this time to speak their names. For all the names spoken and unspoken, may we all be held in love and grace. Today we share the sad news that church member Kurt Axon died this last week after being ill for quite some time. Kurt was a lover of nature. He had a heart for finding hope for a more fair, just, and loving world. We hold Kurt's wife, Diane, and their family and close friends in love and care. We'll hold a memorial on Saturday, October 9th. It'll be live streamed with limited attendance to honor and remember his life and his love. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember him. For all those names around our world, known and unknown, may we all be held in this time of threshold. And may we find ways to join in community together. And I forgot to mention in the announcements, as we join in our rituals for in-gathering next week, bring some water. Bring a little glass or a little pitcher of water from your home or from far away, wherever it comes from, to join together in our ritual. You can also bring your backpack, especially young ones, or you can bring your work bag or your mask or laptop, whatever you bring to work these days, to come for a blessing on this threshold of starting a new year as well. And in that spirit, these words of meditation come from Marge Piercy, entitled Head of the Year. The moon is dark tonight, a new moon for a new year. It is hollow and hungers to be full. It is the zero black of beginning. Now you must void yourself of injuries, insults, incursions. Go with empty hands to those you have hurt and make amends. It is not too late. It is early and about to grow. Now is the time to do what you know you must and have feared to begin. So forgive the dead year and forgive yourself. The light you seek hides in your belly. The light you crave longs to stream from your eyes. You are the moon that will wax in goodness. Amen.
My last song, if this is my final day, if tomorrow I'll be gone, what do I want to say? If this is my last song, if it's my time to go, when my body's moved on, what will I have to show? No, not fortune or fame, they scatter to the wind. The things that make a name just don't matter in the end. Is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and skies a little more blue. Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. These are my last words for all of the earth to hear. If all that I have ever been is about to disappear, if these are my last words, there's nothing that I need to say. I have only tried to serve. It's never been about talking anyway. so much hurt there is to heal. It's hard to understand. All I can hope to feel is that I am doing what I can. Is the world a little more peaceful? Oceans and skies a little more blue? Is humankind a little bit wiser about the good that we can do? Does the sun shine a little bit brighter where before there was only rain? If so, then I'm glad I came. Have I given hope to the hopeless? Has a hungry soul been fed? Has a child stood a little bit taller because of something that I said? Have I left a little kindness? Have I eased a little pain? If so, then I'm glad I came. For that, I'm so glad I came. If this is my last song, what do I leave behind? What do I pass on if I am out of time?
Today's reading is Cleaning the Cupboard by Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt. I'm cleaning the cupboard beside the stove, low to the floor, where pots and pans hide haphazardly. Our kitchen is well used, baker's rack gleaming, with neat jars of peaches, string beans, preserves. But one swipe of paper towel across this hidden surface, and I flinch at the grime I never noticed before. This is teshuvah, opening every closed-up space. I'm a window smeared with dust, a cabinet in need of scouring. It's simple work, but part of me resists, preferring distraction to clarity. When I make the leap, I suddenly can't believe I ever ignored the dirt. Hot water blesses my hands into action. God, help me put my house in order, begin the new year in readiness for the wonders I know are coming, are always here.
It was literally just spinning its wheels, or really spinning the cleaning brush. I kept going over the same spots over and over and over, and it wasn't getting clean, assuming it was something with the floor, something embedded there, not enough traction to pick everything up, or too much power in the vacuum just spitting everything back out. Whatever it was, operator error, maybe, or machine issues, or a distracted pandemic mind, or just trying to get the cleaning done in the allotted time before the next thing, whatever it was on the agenda. It had started so minimally weeks before, just a few specks left on the floor that didn't get picked up with the weekly vacuuming, or sometimes daily if you didn't have anything else you could focus your mind on, that seemed to grow just a little bit each time. And by the time I really assumed something must be wrong, it had been a few weeks at least, upon further inspection, after looking at the floor where nothing was getting picked up, even though the vacuum was still so loud, I opened it up and it was clogged. It was literally picking up nothing at all. Apparently, I had just been parading around the house, swirling the dirt around with this loud machine, spilling it everywhere in a type of hygiene theater of my own, working hard, really hard, to get nothing accomplished. I can't believe I ever ignored the dirt, writes the poet that Trish shared. I'm a window smeared with dust, the rabbi writes, a cabinet in need of scouring. God, help me put my house in order, begin the year in readiness for the wonders I know are coming and are always here. How to put our house, our heart, our soul in order, to open up every closed up space, she writes, to begin the year in readiness. That feels even more aspirational than usual this year. A hopeful sentiment, preferring distraction to clarity, she writes. We keep trying to put things in order when we might just be unknowingly making no progress at all, spinning the brush, just flying dirt around. We keep trying, just swirling things, believing it is improving, when in reality, and maybe we've got a hunch, that we're just kind of stuck in place sometimes. Begin the year in readiness. Ready for what? Last year, in some ways worse, of course, before vaccines, with a little less clear trajectory. Some ways it was better, because we perhaps believed we could just make it through a few more months, that by this time we'd be free and clear, things would be fine. So how do we ready ourselves for all this year could be but isn't, desperately wanting to open up all the closed up spaces, but only if it's right, only if it's safe, only if it's time. And yet, to souls who have felt shut and hearts that have felt closed, isolated, what might the practices for preparing for a new year, like the simple cleaning of the house in the Jewish practice for Rosh Hashanah, a time of readying oneself to notice the wonders of the world that are always there just under the dust, they're always there whether we notice them or not? How might that practice help us with whatever is troubling our heart? How might those practices help hold all that we're meant to hold? Of readying whatever we can, dusting off whatever little shelf at a time, no matter how much dust piles up. That we can't believe we've ignored it for so long, all those aspirations of what we could get done during pandemic time that we still never got done. Perhaps just as hard as being able to name the absurdity, the impossibility of all we're expected to hold in this world, just as hard as naming that things are hard is to hold on to some belief that deep down under the layers of grime and dust there are wonders there, miracles in this life, this world, something sacred to remind us of the point of all our efforts, that there are times when just a little progress, a tiny bit at a time, as little as it might seem in the grand scheme of life, is part of the patchwork of hope that holds us together. And that takes constant maintenance, constant mending. Sometimes it means taking things apart, for a couple hours in an afternoon that you thought should only take a few minutes, disassembling things that now you're pretty sure you can't put back together. So the vacuum's in the back of my car ready to go to the repair shop because I disassembled it beyond being able to put it back. But you clear it out, you try to tune it up the best you know how so that the path is clear again, but now you know it takes just constant maintenance. It takes more attention so it doesn't get to that point again. Paying attention to how things get clogged slowly over time, how things gather dust ever so gently that build up when we don't notice. It's like dusting. something I never appreciated when I was young and still struggle to appreciate as an adult or do with any regularity, but realizing how softly, quietly things can gather a coating of neglect. A coating of neglect not only happens to shelves and books all over my house, it happens to souls too, making the sacred light, the sacred dust of which we are made, seem dim or covered. Sometimes we need a lot of attention, a full-on spiritual scrubbing to clean off the grime of fear or judgment or hatred that has gathered and stuck and solidified, to find our souls still there, shining beneath it, sacred as ever. Sometimes, though, we don't necessarily need that full-on cleaning if we attend to our soul, if we attend to those practices regularly, like a ritual, a routine of preparing for a new year, a new season, a new day. We just need a little breath sometimes, a little wind, a breath of life that can clear a shelf of the dust, to make a practice of care more often and less difficult, like breathing. Werner Herzog writes, "Whether something lasts or not has nothing to do with whether it's made of stone or steel or wood or fabric. A house built all in wood can be a monument that lasts for hundreds of years because it invites people to live in it, to use it, to maintain it. Eternity depends on whether people are willing to take care of something," he writes. In Greece, he says, ordinary white houses are repainted every year. And today, we are often told to use materials and structures that are free of any maintenance, but no building can be neglected entirely. We need constantly, he says, to renew our relationships to the houses we live in, to our friends, to our bodies, all the time, every day. Renewal of souls, of seasons, of calendars and communities takes intention. To keep it healthy and good and running along the way it should, it takes regular upkeep and maintenance, not only changing out the filters and the HVAC, a lively topic these days in shared space. Maintenance is what spiritual practice is for the soul. Rituals and routines of renewing our connections, finding a space to dust off the soul a little bit. There's a reason Rosh Hashanah moves into Yom Kippur, a season of atonement and forgiveness, because it's about beginning new in such a way that doesn't ignore the past, doesn't ignore wrongdoings, that it readies us to ask and seek forgiveness, to make amends. If any fresh start is going to start off right, it takes account for all that has led to this moment, whatever it is, and finds a way to clear a path toward renewal with the earth, with our neighbors, with our community, with ourselves. So maybe you're feeling you need a deep clean, maybe just a dusting. Either way, the most important person, time, place to start anew is always right here, right now, to begin again and again and again, and to know it's never too late to begin. That each moment offers the invitation of enough breath to clear your way. The hymn is "We Begin Again in Love."
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For remaining silent when a single voice would have made a difference.
We give ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time that our fears have made us rigid and inaccessible.
Give ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time we have struck out in anger without just cause.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For each time that our greed has blinded us to the needs of others.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For the selfishness that sets us apart and alone.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For falling short of the admonitions of the Spirit.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For losing sight of our unity.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
For those and for so many acts, both evident and subtle, which have fueled the illusion of separateness.
We forgive ourselves and each other. We begin again in love.
I invite you, wherever you are, to take a breath. Place your hands toward the sky or towards the earth in gratitude or over your heart. Breathe deep the breath of life. And as we begin anew and prepare to begin a new year in familiar and unfamiliar ways, and as we prepare to gather together outside next week and the week after, I offer this blessing. Go yonder, and gather the people. Give them not hell, but courage and hope. Give them something of the love you have found here, and tell all the people that love is our home. Amen.
you.